Yes, yes, yes. Welcome back to another edition of Go Long Live. I am your host, Barry Long, the second, not the first, not the third. We appreciate for everybody for tuning in. It's Friday night and I feel all right. Well, actually, I don't feel great, but I feel I'm here. I'm alive. I'm well. And I always got my guy, Rudy Reyes. How you doing, Rudy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. Matter of fact, it is Friday. I'm feeling fantastic. And, who knows better than the guy at the bar? So if you don't know what that reference is, maybe you should go back and look at Love Boat. And that'll tell you exactly who does that. Anyway, let's rock and roll.
let's
We've
rock
got
and
a
roll.
lot of things to cover, a lot of things to talk about. I want to jump off and start talking about Deshaun Watson. There's a couple of issues with Deshaun Watson. First, from a court proceeding standpoint, found not guilty of any charges, criminal charges, not civilian charges. So those civilian charges could actually take place and could take hold. And in turn, he's going to see a lot more game time decisions being made, so to speak, once he gets into the courtroom to have those conversations and whether or not he's going to have to pay a civil money judgment to any of the aforementioned ladies in this suit. The other problem that I have is that there's no clear defined area where Deshaun Watson can go. Despite his absence, Barry, there's still several NFL teams, along with Colin Kaepernick, who states that he's in the best shape of his life.
Bro, you
And
bringing up his
Marcellus,
name.
I'm bringing up his name for two reasons. First name is Marcellus Wiley. Second reason is
Shout out to
Brandon
Marcellus.
Marshall. Shout out to Marcellus. But this is where the shout out gets taken away, because here's Brandon Marshall, former Super Bowl 50 winning player for the Denver Broncos, defensive guy. And all of a sudden, the only thing that Marcellus tweeted was the only thing that Colin Kaepernick can actually stop is racism. His football day is over. His football career is over with. The only thing he can claim is that. And then Brandon Marshall said, why you got to kick a guy when he's down? Why you got to kick your brother when he's down?
and to be clear, everybody, Colin Kaepernick, everyone knows who Colin Kaepernick is, but he's been one of the most polarizing figures that we've had in sports from since the beginning of sports, because of his unwillingness to change, his willingness to step out and say that he's out there for change. But it's just been a conundrum with whether or not people believe that he's standing for something or he's standing for nothing. And a lot of times, Colin Kaepernick gets swept under the rug, and it's become more of an insignificant story the years and years that have gone by. But ultimately, they said the other day that Colin Kaepernick is working out and he's ready. And how many times has this happened? I love Colin Kaepernick. I love his game. I don't exactly believe in everything that he believes in, and I'll leave it at that, because it's way deeper than just taking a knee.
And not only that, but it's also deeper than sports. It goes beyond the sports landscape. Even though it was kneeled on a national stage, it still represents a lot of things to a lot of different people. Nike jumped on board with him almost immediately upon his release from the NFL. And he's had endorsements from Apple. Matter of fact, he co-produced a movie, I think, a miniseries with Apple. So it's not as if Colin Kaepernick is not relevant, at least not in that capacity.
Outside of football than
he actually would play in football. That's right, exactly right.
With his new quarterback money, he might have made more. People can argue that, but yeah, you're right. He's made more money outside of the sport than he has inside of the sport. And I feel like there's a lot of people that over-sensationalize Colin Kaepernick, and there's a lot of people that underappreciate what he means to the game and to society overall. There's been many athletes that have stepped out and taken a stand and said, you know what, I'm gonna not play again, and I'm not gonna have an opportunity to. Brian Flores is a very recent kind of microcosm of what Colin Kaepernick stands for. Brian Flores wanted to make a stand, wanted to make a change. And he basically said, I'm willing to not work again in the NFL just so that other people can have opportunities. And by the grace of God for Brian Flores, he was able to get a job by the Steelers, who are known for helping out minorities and helping out people that are disenfranchised. But yeah, I feel like Colin Kaepernick, when he's had opportunities to get back in the league, when they said he was working out and meet him at Atlanta at some high school a few years ago, yeah. He just seemed to people who understand his whole journey and understand his position. he just seemed like he wasn't trying to play football. He was just trying to get more publicity. And I understand where he's coming from, but he's just it's a unique situation.
Well, I've said this multiple times. There are 3 versions to every story. His version, his or her version, and the truth. And the truth will always come out. It's always going to sit right in the middle between both truths. And that's the real truth. That is what you call the gray area. And sometimes we overlook the gray area. We overlook at what Colin Kaepernick actually did. Okay, fine. I don't agree with what he had done on the field. He could have taken that stance using he has more followers now than probably any former NFLer, and at least one that's not in the Hall of Fame, right? Because Hall of Famers have, Jim McMahon, who won the Super Bowl, the 85 Bears. So he's got a ton of followers, but he doesn't follow everybody. Colin Kaepernick follows the same suit. But here's my point, is that Colin Kaepernick may be ready to go, but the NFL still could not be ready for him. Meaning that display of PR that he was exhibiting on the field to try to be the guy to get back onto a football team somewhere in the NFL, I still claim Deshaun Watson still has a better chance because he did not do what Colin Kaepernick did. Now, with that being said, yes, did Deshaun Watson expose himself? We'll never know. The other
he is.
50 ladies,
we do know he
hold
exposed himself.
Hold on a second. Hold on,
I'm
though.
sorry.
Criminally, that doesn't necessarily agree with your point of view. I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm not saying that he did. What I am saying is that he
choose different words. He exposed himself.
No, he he did. Whatever you want to call it. If he wants to be,
he whipped it out. He did something.
If he wants to do this in a movie theater, then that's his business. If he doesn't get caught, that's his business.
I like that.
Okay, there you go. See, so that right there proves my point. But Deshaun Watson still has a pliable opportunity to become a next NFL quarterback. Now, there are rumors surrounding him taking Russell Wilson's spot now that Russell Wilson had moved on and was traded to the Denver Broncos. Of course, Denver Broncos haven't had a Hall of Fame quarterback since, a guy named Peyton Manning. Anybody remember that guy? Ultimately, Deshaun Watson will end up filling a void somewhere. The question is where? Speculation is rampant right now, but my best guess is in Seattle. But then again, Colin Kaepernick is right there on his tail. And don't forget, out of all of this, we haven't heard Deshaun Watson's name mentioned at all as to whether or not he's football ready. And I don't think he is. I don't even think Colin Kaepernick is either.
There's going to be arguments out there whether or not Colin Kaepernick is football ready, whether or not he's ready mentally. It's just like, honestly, when you compare Deshaun Watson to Colin Kaepernick, then that's where I'm out, because Deshaun Watson was one time before he starts going through all these accusations and all these women coming out. He was considered top 5 in the league by many people, not just by me.
Yeah,
by
I agree.
Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And Colin Kaepernick, at no point of his career, of his shortened NFL career, and has he been considered top 5. He has a unique skill set, and yes, Deshaun Watson and Colin Kaepernick have a similar skill set because they're able to run the ball, they're able to do the RPO. They're fantastic. I've seen Colin Kaepernick at his best. He has a strong arm, but ultimately, Deshaun Watson is a unique talent to this league. And the fact that we found out today that he will not be criminally charged, we know the NFL. We know how many times the NFL gives people second chances. I feel like today is a significant day for him, but for the league, and the fact that you bring up Seattle, that you didn't bring charges, that may happen. But ultimately, he has an opportunity right now to not only go to a team and help a team, but he has an opportunity to go to a team and show them, show the world that people can be accused of something crazy, and then they can bounce back.
And they definitely can. It's been shown throughout NFL history. It's been shown throughout history in general, outside of sports. It's been shown that people that get those second chances more often than not will make good on their better intentions once they leave, whether albeit incarcerated or not incarcerated, whatever the case might be. They get an opportunity, a second chance, and it would not surprise me. I know this is going to sound strange, but don't forget, Seattle has Drew Lock, and they have Geno Smith, which I'm going to laugh at because both quarterbacks are absolutely horrible. Now, imagine this. Deshaun Watson trying to beat out Colin Kaepernick for the number 1 spot in Seattle.
Damn, that's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. Now, you can use quarterback by committee if you're Seattle. Well, look what happened when Russell Wilson was injured last year. It was quarterbacked by committee. Whoever
Yeah,
was there. Geno Smith was your starter. Geno Smith is no talent in the NFL. No offense to him, but he's not. Drew Lock,
yeah,
okay, he has more coachability. He has more trainability. But don't forget, Fangio, first name Vic, was ousted by Patton for good reason. So they could bring Russell Wilson there. I think Watson would have a better shot at beating out Colin Kaepernick in the same training camp there in Seattle.
and I agree. I think that Deshaun Watson would be. I mean, you got to look at all the quarterbacks in the NFL, okay? And there's probably only 6 to 7 teams that if they had an opportunity to get Deshaun Watson, that they would be like, hell no, there's no reason, I'm out. But the rest of the league, as long as they know that it will not cost them, games for him due to suspension, as long as it won't cost them bad publicity and have all these protests showing up outside of their training camps, I feel like the rest of the league will be all in. But now let's talk about somebody else who's in some legal issues, and this is a unique situation because this is a WNBA star, Brittany Griner. Now we all know who Brittany Griner is because she was one of the first females to really bang on them, not to just dunk, but to bang on them, and she's been widely covered since she's been in college, since high school. And what people don't realize is that the WNBA season is so short, but most of these women, they make like $45,000 a year to play in the WNBA. And it doesn't even compare to what they're making in the actual NBA. So a lot of these women go overseas. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, Candace Parker. All these women have been overseas playing more basketball than they've actually played in the United States because the money is so intriguing over there. And Brittany Griner has been a superstar in Russia for years. She makes millions over there and makes peanuts over here. And she also makes more money in endorsements over there. But she finished up her season. She was coming back to America, and she was detained because they found several cartridges that contained hashish oil. And this was a week before the whole Ukraine-Russia thing actually popped. So she was basically, a lot of people that were foreigners in Russia or Ukraine were trying to get back to their home nation. And she was trying to get back, and there's surveillance cameras and surveillance footage of her going through customs. And anybody who's ever traveled abroad, you go through customs. It's different than going through Detroit Airport TSA. Okay. So, but yeah, she's going through customs. She gets detained, but she's been in custody for over a month, man, like over a month. And there's a popular attorney. She plays in Phoenix, Gloria Allred, who stays in Phoenix, who's been widely critical of certain things that happen. She's been one of the liaisons that people go to, the women go to, who have ever been wronged and they want to fight back legally. Gloria Allred she's the truth when it comes to.
She's a woman.
She's a whoa man.
Because you see her in court, you're going to say, "Whoa, man."
Now she's actively trying to get Brittany Griner out of that country. But my question to you is how do you feel about this whole situation that she's surrounded by? Do you think that she's supposed to be detained? You think that she should be allowed to come home? And then we'll talk further in depth after we get your opinion.
Well, I mean, to be quite honest with you, yeah, there may have been some hashish oil. And of course, everybody knows that Russia hasn't always been forthright when it comes to what they claim to be X, Y, and Z and ABC. And of course, we know what's going on over there right now. And my support's behind Ukraine completely. However, when you look at what, she has meant not only to the WNBA, but it's hard to imagine a superstar needing hashish oil. For what reason? What purpose would she even remotely
Come on,
need?
Rudy.
No, hold on a second. Hold on. She's a top athlete. Okay. Now there hasn't been any link to using hashish oil or THC. Matter of fact, the NFL's not even testing for tetrahydrochloride anymore. So it's
now let me ask
you
before you go further. Just take a picture of her. Just take a look at her picture. Do you think that she smokes and she likes THC? I think it's clear she does. so it's clearly recreational.
Because she's smiling. Come on, man. No.
It's a dread.
I disagree, and here's where I disagree. Trevor Reed, who is a former Marine, had been actually there had been some type of investigation going on with him. He was locked up with a guy that claimed, and the Russians claimed that he was involved with the life and health of Russian police officers, and they were injured because they were trying to detain him. Now, Trevor Reed is a guy. I mean, he's a decorated Marine. He obviously was able to get out. But I mean, to be quite honest with you, when you look at the types of shenanigans, yes, I said shenanigans, that you see and hear about going on in Russia and Ukraine, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever that she at any point would even have hashish oil on her. Now, could she have? Third world country, doesn't go through customs, goes to the Russian police. They know that she's an American. Her name's Brittany Griner. Hello, a Russian named Brittany. I think that would be pronounced something different. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
so when I look at this case, this is really all to do about nothing. And I really foresee Brittany Griner getting out of this situation relatively unscathed.
Well, when we if we think back, we remember when what's his name, LiAngelo Ball, the one that's really not in the NBA. We got LaMelo, you got Lonzo, but LiAngelo Ball was a superstar. He at least he was covered like a superstar at UCLA. Goes overseas, goes to China, is playing in a tournament. He is obviously they're basically projecting him to be an NBA draft pick in the first round because of the name Ball and because of his skill set. But he goes over there, he steals some sunglasses in China from a random store, and he needs the president's help from China, President Xi, and President Trump's help. And it was just such a over sensationalized covered story. But ultimately, I feel like it's held him back from opportunities that he could have potentially had. And he's right now, he's grinding, he's playing hard, trying to get back in the NBA. but this situation is a dark cloud that will hover over him forever. But Brittany Griner, this is a different situation in my opinion because she's a star in Russia, a bigger star in Russia than she is in America. And I know that's hard for people to understand, but I follow women's basketball a lot. My dad, shout out to my dad. We love the Lady Vols. I love Pat Summitt, met her a couple times. And I understand and I follow and I keep up with all these females that we see in March Madness in the Final Four. And Brittany Griner is such a special talent. She had the ability to change the way that people look at the WNBA. Most people that I talk to, I asked a couple guys recently, what could the WNBA do to make more people watch? And you know what somebody told me? They said, man, they should lower the rim. And it sounds so patronizing and it sounds
that's chauvinistic. Why would anybody have that?
It sounds chauvinistic, but if they lower the rim to 8 feet, do you know how many women would be banging on them? And you know how many guys would be, you know, like it.
It's better.
We don't want to watch
NBA players don't even get paid the amount of money that the NBA players do. Okay,
I know. And when we talk about women's soccer,
it's completely disparaging. It shouldn't even happen. It's a complete travesty.
I understand what you're saying, but when we talk about women's soccer, okay, women's soccer, they're complaining about they're on TV more than the guys are, and they're getting paid way less. These women,
and they also sued.
When you watch WNBA games, you watch women's college basketball, the ball movement, the shooting, the decision making, the play calling is at such a high level that I feel like if they were able to dunk and have highlight reels with dunks, you saw a woman get posterized. If you saw Brittany Griner get posterized, it would automatically be number one on any sports highlight show there is. So I feel like they're a couple of years away from figuring it all out. But this situation right here,
completely disservice. They're completely disservice.
They are
on every level. On every level, underpaid.
And Brittany Griner, she's smoking weed. Man, it's hashish oil. It's not like she's over there trying to sell heroin, trying to do heroin. But you cannot look at this picture and tell me that Brittany Griner don't smoke weed.
I don't think she's smoking.
All right, we're moving on. We are Go Long Live. We'll be the Hot Minutia next week. This is my guy, Rudy Ramon Reyes. I am Barry Long the second, not the first, not the third. And Rudy was the first to text me. He broke the news to me. And I was excited, man, because I never thought that I would get this news this season. But the Major League Baseball lockout is officially over. And look, that sigh of relief that you just let out, that was genuine. That was so genuine because I mean, they had everything. They had spring training is gonna be gone. They were like, oh, we're gonna shorten the season. and I'm a Dodger fan. I already know about how people want to put an asterisk next to the Dodgers World Series championship because it was a shortened season.
Or bubble championship, like the
Yeah,
Lakers
the bubble championship.
Uh-huh.
Ultimately, a championship is a championship, but baseball is baseball. And I was upset with baseball because Major League Baseball they have experienced this incredible surge of people that want to watch the game. Now balls are flying out of the park at a higher rate. You got so many fans that are now well invested into this sport. And then right when the popularity is at its all-time highest, then you find out that, oh, these guys don't want to play because they're worried about money. Well, regardless of who's right or who's wrong, both sides came to a decision and they said the lockout is over, and I'm excited. Rudy, tell us how excited you are.
My team's a small market team, so I don't really have a dog in the fight, and they're in the small market. Now, I grew up watching the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That sounds like a mouthful, but that's really who they are, and that's what they are. And I feel for both sides, because for some reason, somehow, some way, they weren't able to get anything going. There was no traction. They were too far apart on the international trade market. They were too far apart between the CBT, when it was going to be raised, when they would go back into it. There were so many minor details. They didn't need to break absolutely everything down. What they needed to do was come to a hard, compromising position to say, you know what, this is where we're at. We know we're going to sign this deal. But the problem is now they get to open it up weeks late. Training camp, you got 30 days for players to report. And of course, your Dodgers signed $17 million to Clayton Kershaw, which
for 1 year, for
only 1 year.
He'll be back.
He's not worth it. He's not worth it. He's already won a chip. Okay, granted. And I said this on Twitter. He's won a chip already, but he is not that guy. He's not the guy.
He's not Clayton Kershaw that we remember.
He's not it's not nowhere near the Clayton Kershaw that I remember. This Clayton Kershaw gets
all right, hold on.
And torched. Okay.
I can't let that slide. Okay, because you're a Steelers fan and you remember Ben Roethlisberger. A couple years, the last 3 years, and he has not been Ben Roethlisberger that we remember, the one that everybody remembers that won 2 rings. Who
has 2 rings?
Who has 2 rings?
That's right. Ben Roethlisberger has 2 rings, not Clayton Kershaw.
All right, don't worry about the rings. I'm just asking you this, okay? Because when Ben went on this run and they made it to the playoffs, you and I, we were excited to see if he could do it, if he could pull it out. So you mean to tell me that if before this past NFL season, if the Steelers said, hey, you know what, we're going to run it back for you 1 more year and we believe in you, would you have been like, oh, you know what, Big Ben is done? No, you would have said, let's see the big guy.
No.
Let's see him do it one more time. And that's how Dodgers fans feel right now.
No, absolutely not. No way. I would have called for Ben Roethlisberger's head. There would have been no way. To get Ben Roethlisberger back into shape, and I mean literally into shape, like football shape, and not get injured. He's had every either bone broken or bruised in his body, his nose, his pelvic area, his knees, especially his knees, his neck. He's had concussions. This guy has been beat up in ways that Clayton Kershaw would cry uncle the minute somebody swung at him or a bat was flipped at him. Okay? So to compare Ben Roethlisberger's gridiron 2-ring winning methodologies compared to Clayton Kershaw, who knows how to blow a 5-2 lead. Okay, that's not comparable. That's not even.
You got me. You got me there.
All right. So the bottom line is that the Dodgers still have great starters. They have a very deep bench. Magic Johnson, along with the rest of the crew, I guess the blue crew. The blue crew remains to be named.
Guggenheim,
the whole night. They have the ability to do something special with the Dodgers, whether or not they get to run it back again or whatever the case might be. A funny tweet reminded me of this. The LA Rams wants a play date. This is funny. It wants a play date with the Dodgers trophy. So they want to go play on the playground, whatever that is, a neutral ground.
Yeah, but one of the most incredible one of the most incredible dynamics about the Rams winning the championship is that Clayton Kershaw was in LA for so long and then finally won a championship. We saw Matt Stafford in his 13th season win a championship. He's been in the game. Clayton Kershaw didn't win a championship till his 13th season. Matt Stafford won one in his 13th season. They grew up. They were best friends growing up in Dallas, Texas. They're both in LA, and it's just a great story to me. But I get it. You're right.
Night time. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I'm just glad baseball's back. That's all there is to it. My
So am
team is
I.
Pirates, okay?
So
And
yeah, I
so
know. It's
and
okay. It's okay.
it's a long. I know. I almost want to like cry before baseball ever starts. Of course, as Tom Hanks said it, there's no crying in baseball, and there's no crying at a 162 full game schedule, which is mind blowing. But opening day will move back to April 7th. Put that back up there. I want to see that again.
Bro, you just said there's no crying in baseball. Shout out to you
no crying in baseball.
shout out to you.
I'll just
But,
call it like it is. You have spring training camp starting on March 17th, which
okay,
this is already way past due.
To me, the most significant thing
out.
that's on that graphic is the National League adopts the designated hitter starting this season, and it's been a widely publicized thing between American League because I mean, is it an advantage or is it a disadvantage? And I believe I'm a baseball purist. If I go to a baseball game and it's live, I prefer a 1-0 game, and I prefer minimal hits. I prefer 0 home runs.
No room for DH. No room for DH. Ban the DH. Get rid of the DH.
You think they should ban the DH?
Absolutely. Then twice on Saturday afternoon while you're eating a hot dog with relish and mustard on it. There's no room for the DH. None at all. There hasn't been ever since they wanted to make the infield adjustment, right? Or putting this automatic runner on second base.
Yeah, that's a rule.
That goes right along with the DH situation. Absolutely not. That's ridiculous.
All right, so we're going to get. We don't have much time left on this show, but we are going to dive deep into this whole thing because I am a proponent of the DH being in both leagues. You're obviously an advocate that they are.
I'm an odd man out.
But look, there's so many things that Major League Baseball has done these past few years, like adding the guy at second base in extra innings, and it just doesn't make any sense to a lot of people. But we definitely have more time to talk about that. But right now, let's talk about this random trade that we found out. We heard about all these trades going on in the NFL. You had guys, Carson Wentz to the Commanders. You had Russell Wilson to the Broncos. This, I feel like, is one of the most significant trades that is not that big of headline news. But Khalil Mack going to the Chargers for, I mean, we always joke about it.
That's huge. That's huge.
We joke about that people get traded for a ham sandwich. This dude got traded for turkey bacon. Okay,
he got traded for a whole Subway's franchise. Are you kidding me? This was an absolute out of the park trade. Are you joking?
I mean, it was random, but I don't feel like the Bears got as much back as he's worth deep down inside. But absolutely, I feel like this is going to be big for the Chargers. The Chargers are in a tough division. I mean, it just got tougher with Russell Wilson coming in there. But how do you feel?
Wilder.
It got wild. The West just got wilder. This is the wild. Oh my God, Rudy,
this is a wild, wild West. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna take myself off the screen. Say it one more time.
The West just got wilder, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I said it. I'm gonna say it again. Khalil Mack to the Chargers with Bosa on the opposite side. Are you kidding me?
Does it make a difference though?
What they need. It's going to make a huge difference in LA. Are you joking? They're going to share the same stadium as the Rams. Now, can you imagine what they call in baseball a freeway series? This is an ultra freeway series. This is like two diesels going at it when you have the Rams trying to go and run it all the way back with the original cast.
They told Von Miller they want Von Miller back. They told Odell Beckham, we don't care that you're injured. We want you back. You're right. I think you're right about this whole. It's gonna change the West.
It's gonna change the West even more than Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos. And hold on, people. I'm not getting ahead of myself, and here's why. Because now you have Russell Wilson, who hasn't won a Super Bowl since back in the day, and almost won one if it wasn't for the decision to not give it to Marshawn Lynch to beat the New England Patriots. Okay, now with that being said, Khalil Mack opposite of Joey Bosa, are you joking? This is a 1-2 punch that the LA Chargers / formerly known as San Diego Chargers have yet to see. And this is going to be a nightmare a la carte for any team that goes into SoFi and faces off against the Chargers. If you think this is a walk in the park, you got another thing coming because Khalil Mack is going to be on your back for the Mack attack.
You just said a la carte, and this is what I imagine when you said that. I'm in the restaurant and I'm like, would I like the Joey Bosa or you know what? I'll just have the Khalil Mack because that's what quarterbacks are going to be ordering up. You're right. When you talk about Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack, oh my goodness, man. And then Justin Herbert is just that. All he needs is a good defense. That's all he needs is a great defense, and it's a wrap. You're right. This is going to be I think that this is more significant then the Russell Wilson trade, then the Carson Wentz trade. I feel like the NFC East is such a weak division that's going to be a good move for Washington. Although a lot of people feel like it's not, I feel like it'll manifest itself. But this trade right here is going to be the one that puts the Chargers over the top. And I feel like the Chargers, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. I think the Chargers and Justin Herbert, the way he's been playing, I feel like they're going to win the division next year. I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they will be in the AFC Championship. But I'm saying this gets them the division. Sorry, Patrick Mahomes. What do you say?
I do like the Kansas City Chiefs in this AFC West. I'm not so much for the formerly known as Oakland Raiders in Las Vegas now. That hasn't really changed anything at all because Derek Carr, as far as I know, is still the quarterback. And that right there is a problem in of itself. Now, with that being said, then you have the San Diego / LA Chargers, who now are obviously, you could probably have the conversation about the Washington Commanders and want to talk about the same thing, them being the Washington football team or the Washington Redskins. To me, they'll always be the Redskins no matter what day of the week it is.
Me too.
And twice on Sunday. So here the LA Chargers are, okay, being that team that they needed to be. And the way that they were able to do that is by getting Khalil Mack. Now, as far as the Chicago Bears getting anything for it, yeah, they got 2 first, 1 third round, 1 6th round. That doesn't really excite me a whole lot. But Khalil Mack, and Browns are always doing Browns types of things or Bears types of things, and the Browns do the very same types of things as well. So neither team surprises me in that regard. But Khalil Mack will change the game there in Los Angeles with the Chargers, and I look for this minus the 6 guns to be an all guns blazing situation.
Ooh, you are firing on all cylinders.
And matter of fact, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to take the LA Chargers to win the AFC West and blow out Kansas City, even at home.
As do I. I pick them too. I pick them as well. But all right, we don't have much time. Man, we're launching the Hot Minutia on Monday. It's the same show, just a different graphic. And we're going to be on the same channels, the same platforms. So we appreciate everybody who's been showing love. And so real quick, we do the meme of the day. We're going to continue to do the meme of the day. This is the meme. This is the meme of the day, Rudy. This is the Colts. This is the Colts sitting Winston, Washington. And this is basically like a little DJ turntable. He's like, does not work, but it could be fun to fix. And this is so true because Carson Wentz has had a lot of injury issues and it's been well documented. But I'm a DJ, man, and my very first turntable had a sign similar to this. And this is what I'm going to go out on a limb and say. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Carson Wentz is going to be a shock to the world, and he is going to be fun to fix for Ron Rivera and for that Washington franchise. And I feel like they're going to be very hard. They're going to compete for the division.
Carson Wentz has too many scratches on him to fix that sucker. I don't care how much Windex you put on. I don't care how much grease you slide onto that thing. It's not going to matter at the end of the day because this is broke and you just can't fix it.
His name is Rudy Ramon Reyes, and that was the most fire thing. All right, Rudy, let them know where they can find you at, boss.
Hey, you guys can find me at Rudy Reyes on Twitter. You can go to LinkedIn. You can go to Facebook. You can basically go anywhere you want. Heck, you can even knock on my front door. Doesn't mean I'm going to answer it.
He's going to go in tonight. My name is Barry Long. You can find me on Twitter at Radio Barry Long. You can find me on IG at Barry Long II. You can find me on Facebook the way that it's spelled right here. And hey, we're launching the Hot Minutia on Monday. I appreciate how long people have been rocking with Go Long Live, but it's about to be hot.
It's time for some change, baby.
The same show, the same guys, the same energy. Just a new logo, new graphic, and you know what? It's gonna be more energy.
All you gotta do is break down the dollar, and you get 4 quarters. That's wow. It's not gonna change. Okay, if you got to go to the laundromat and clean yourself up after this, by all means, take $1. I'm not gonna send you.
For sure. Hey, y'all stay focused, stay motivated, stay inspired, and remember, you're capable of doing any freaking thing. Don't ever let nobody tell you you're not. We'll see you on Monday. We'll see you on Monday. We'll see you on Monday on the Hot Minutia right here. Same place, same spot. We love y'all. Peace.